So I've taken this little Skoda Fabia in part exchange against the automatic Honda Jazz I've got because the lady needs to move to an auto. I gave her quite good money for it, but we got a knock from the engine. If I start her up for you, you'll be able to hear it. So 1.4 diesel, which is quite a noisy engine anyway, but if you listen carefully, you can hear there's a knock at startup, which I'm hoping is just an engine mount. But we're going to get Pete to start the car up while I'm having a look in the front, and we'll see what's what. Do it again. Oh, look at that. Just the airbox sitting there. Just the airbox sitting in the ECU. Oh, that's a nice result. That's a nice result. No engine mounts at all. Just that is way too loose. So we fixed that and we got rid of the knock. So Saturday we've had our last collection from rollovers from last month. We had a lot of rollovers from last month. So we've had our last collection off of that. We've had quite a busy old morning. We've done the Renault Capture. Someone's bought that on finance via Zuto on Auto Trader, and the same thing's happened with the Peugeot 108 there. That's been sold via Zuto Finance online. So those two have been sold. We have sold our little Suzuki Celerio to a subscriber who's come by this morning. Many thanks for that. So that's sold and been invoiced. We've had a subscriber put somebody on to a family member on the Range Rover Evoque, so deposit's been put down on that. So they've got a car. We've got to get in for MOT first thing Monday. They want the car ASAP, so we've got to get them first thing Monday. Hopefully doesn't throw up too much so he can get the car in the time frame he wants. And the Suzuki Jimny sold as well. Well, it's had a deposit put down. Someone's going to come down, check they're happy with it first. So the Suzuki Jimny we took off of a subscriber in part exchange against the gold Vitara. That has had a deposit put on this morning as well. If you take those out of what we've got here, and bear in mind, excuse me, that PT has decided he wants the Audi A1 for his wife, so I'm just selling that for what it owes me, so I wouldn't make a penny out of Pete, so that'll be sold to him. We're going to raffle off the Brera, and obviously that's going out. That leaves just that, which hasn't even been advertised yet, that and that for sale. The Clio, the Capture, that hasn't been put up for sale yet. The Sportage, we don't know we've got that. And the Ford Fiesta is the stock we have. Oh, and we've got a few that we now need to prep. So the Qashqai, the Capture here, the Volvo, we've got the Hyundai, the i10, and a Volvo over there, which seems like quite a lot, but that isn't actually quite enough. If we move all that up into these spaces, we'll end up with a couple of rows empty. So we need to get out buying, find some more stock. So if you've got anything you're looking to sell, don't forget, I put the website address down the bottom there. Don't forget to get across. There's an online form you can fill out. Anything is of interest. Hopefully we can do a deal if you're not too far away. Just get it in there. So I really appreciate all those that have already been in touch offering me cars. Pete is busy cleaning the Skoda that we got in part exchange. It is 2009, but the mileage is decent. It's the 1.4 diesel, which is a good tough little unit. And obviously we sorted out the rattling noise on startup with just the airbox hitting the ECU. It's got a bit of a mount, needs sorting out. It is very filthy inside. We are having to give it a really good clean, but I thought that one was probably worth retailing at the lower end. I might end up regretting it, but we'll give it a go. We got a Fiat 500X that's down with Malcolm having paint done at MJM Bodyworks. That is provisionally sold to somebody as well. And the Jeep that we got in, I don't know if I showed this on video, the little Jeep Renegade that we had coming from BCA that went straight down to Moores because it had a turbo. It's had the new turbo fitted, and a young lady's taking a liking to that, wants to know as soon as it's MOT'd and up for grabs. Picked up a Mercedes off my friend. Got two cars, the plug-in Iconic, which I'm probably going to do a video on because that's been an interesting car to try out. And a Mercedes A-Class 180, which has got the 1.5 DCI engine in it, if you remember. This is the red that does suffer from the lack appeal, but a lot of it was done under Mercedes warranty. Mercedes warranted the paintwork, so they did actually take these back. So I think there's only one door that probably didn't need doing at the time. It was put into Mercedes that needs some lacquer work doing to it, which is just this one door here, which is good news. So we'll get that bit of paint sorted, and then it'll actually be super clean little car all the way around. Like I say, it's a 1.5 DCI, the Renault engine, believe it or not. It is a bit of a laugh. He's filled it full of Coke because he knows I drink way too much Coke. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to have a... It's got leather, it's got full history. I think the mileage was reasonable as well. It's a manual though, not automatic. I know people tend to like the Mercedes in automatic, don't they? It is. Oh no, it is automatic. What am I talking about? It's automatic. One idiot. I'm buying that many cars now. So that'll be more appealing, being an auto. A couple of people have been asking what I'm doing with this Honda Civic Type R here. Now, if you've watched some previous videos, you know I bought this off a subscriber to get it ready for a track day. We did all the suspension on it, MOT'd it, so it's all set to go, but I just haven't used it at all. It's been sat here. But we have got a track day coming up. Let me give you the information on that, because we're doing some work for charity on that track day. We're trying to raise some money for dementia. We're trying to raise some money for dementia charity with this car, with the track day. Something a bit close to my heart, because my father-in-law is now suffering from dementia, unfortunately vascular dementia. And I imagine there's a lot of people out there watching this video now that have got family, or either affected personally or via families, or people they know affected by dementia. So it would be great to raise as much money as we can for the charity. There will be an opportunity for you to get something back from your donations as well, because everybody that donates is entered into a raffle for some fantastic prizes that have been gifted by the likes of Matt Armstrong, I think the Stig, Ben Collins, is it? I'll go through those in a minute as well. I said it's a charity track day where each creator is trying to raise as much money as they can for their chosen charity. But in order to make it a bit more of an incentive to donate, there are prizes you can win when you enter. So if we go through them 1 second, you've got a Jeremy Clarkson signed book and trip to meet at Diddley Squat Farm. You've got a signed Jackie Stewart photo. You've got a signed Lando Norris shirt. You've got 2 tickets to Dizzy Rascal, and you've got a free track lesson at the event with a professional race car driver. Every donation gets you an entry. So you can scan this QR code here, or I'll put a link in the video description. What you need to do to make sure that you get entered into the competition is add a message on the Just Giving page. So when you donate on the Just Giving page, there is an option to add a message, and if you add Chops Garage Viewer to that message, that makes sure that we know that the donations come from you, and we can enter you in that draw. So all donations are massively appreciated. Give whatever you can, and let's try and raise as much money as we can for racing together against dementia. To this little Skoda Fabia 2009 in part exchange 1.4 diesel. I say just, Pete spent the entire day cleaning it because it was hanging. But underneath all of that, it's actually turned out to be a really nice looking example. Wouldn't normally retail something this old, but 1.4 diesel, I think it's only got 89,000 miles on it. I saw a bit of potential in it. There's always a market at the lower end, sort of under the 3k mark. There's always a market for people to buy cars, and this one came in with a new MOT on it as well. Huge boots on these little cars, isn't there? And that 1.4, that's going to give silly MPG, isn't it? So we'll see how we get on. Hopefully I won't end up with too many warranty claims. I wouldn't have thought so on a 1.4 diesel Skoda Fabia. My sister's got one of these and she's done mega miles on hers, and kept it for, oh, she must have had it for well over 12 years or more, I would have thought. So I have taken 4 days off. I'm at West Point Arena in Exeter to do my big bike test with MTS. Now, if you remember, MTS did my CBT for me before. Found them a fantastic company, got me through that, no problems at all. So I've come back for a 4-day intensive one-to-one course to learn to ride a bigger bike. So if you don't know, there is now the rules that, depending on your age, you have to drive a 125. If you're of a certain age, you can go to direct access, which means you can go to any bike once you pass your direct access. If you're in a CBT and you're younger, you will have to do a 33 horsepower test in between, which I can't remember what the name of that is. Chris will slap me for that. There's like a 2-stage, but if you're an older git like me, you can do CBT and then do your direct access to be able to ride any bike you like. I decided to do my CBT, get a bit of experience on my 125, get a bit of confidence on a bike before I came down to do my direct access. And I decided to do a one-to-one for 4 days because ideally I didn't want to come down twice. I wanted one-to-one to make sure we got as many things ironed out for my test as possible. So I've got 4 days. I've actually booked a caravan not far from here. My wife did. It was easy going back and forth to Bideford every day, and a little bit cheaper actually than, well, not only a little bit more expensive actually, to be correct, than the fuel, but a lot less stressful because some of the mornings early start. So I'm not going to be recording while I'm doing it because I'm going to be stressed out enough already, and they don't want extra equipment on the bikes, I wouldn't have thought. So we're just going to probably touch base after I've done it all, because I don't want to jinx anything, say anything now, and we're going to see how we get on. Now, I would point out one of the reasons that I choose MTS is because they have a crap ton of space. So for starters, this setup here for your Mod 1, which is all your low speed stuff, is identical to the test centre. So all the cones are in the same place. They've got it set up exactly the same. All the cones are the same distance apart. The layout is the same direction. So when you go and do it at the test centre, you really are familiar. They've got so much space here to do it. They can set you up for your slalom, set you up for your slow drive, for your U-turn, all of that stuff. You can practice over and over again here, complete safety. Now, if you haven't got any experience on the road, even before you go on the road, they have access to this entire road network over here. They've got traffic lights, they've got stops, everything. I'll get a better video of it a bit when I get down closer to it, but you've got like a mini road network here, so you can go and try out roundabouts and uphill starts and all that kind of stuff, again, even before you get on the road. So if you're a bit of a nervous rider starting out, even if you just want, they do refresher courses and all sorts, this is the place to come. Just got, like I say, even before you get on the road, you've got so much opportunity for having it out. Like I said, they've really gone to town setting up. They've got a big bike for me. They've got a higher seating position bike for me as well. They've got a huge range of bikes, geared bikes and automatics if you want to do it on automatics. So that's why I choose them. I've looked around and they just aren't, there's nothing near Barnstable. There's just nothing that gives you all the facilities they've got set up here. And they do have a good rep, and they have been here for a long time. Anyway, this isn't sponsored content. I'm not paying me to say this, by the way. I've put my money down for my test, so let's see how I get on, because I really don't want to have to pay twice. Here's the road network. You can probably see over there traffic lights, and you've got some roundabouts, and let's say you've got some hill starts. You can go round and round there until you're absolutely comfortable before you go on the road, which has got to be a massive plus for this centre over other places. I've only gone and done it. I've only passed. So this is the bike I've been riding, an 800, F800. And GS BMW, which I am loving. I have got a Triumph Tiger 660 at work ready to go, but I have to say I've been loving this bike. So yeah, I passed my Mod 1 first time, I passed my practical on the road first time, and I've got to put a huge amount of that down to Chris, who's in the shed there, so I can be nice about him without it being uncomfortable like it is with blokes. He had to iron out a load of bad habits I had from riding my 125 about for months on my own. He had to iron out some real poor habits, like me covering the rear brake all the time. But the thing that got me through it is he told me to talk through everything. So rather than think through everything, talk through everything. And I have to say that is probably the best tip I've ever had. Talking through it as I go through the cones, keep my head up, to point my nose where I'm going, and make myself physically say it to myself as I did it, made such a difference. It ironed out all the bugs. I was absolutely convinced I was going to fail my road test, because I just get a little bit flustered sometimes. I have to say the instructor also was a top guy, really nice, really friendly, happy to answer questions. I made a mistake and went round the wrong way around, not the wrong way around a roundabout. I didn't take the exit I should have done. I just carried on, didn't mark me down for anything like that. You just got to be sensible. You just got to ride safely, like Chris said. They're looking for you to ride safely. Mistakes are okay as long as they don't affect other people and make them behave differently. But just overall, the experience has been so intense. 4 days of intense. Chris has known when to take the breaks as well. It's a big thing as well. It's tempting, you know, you're paying your money, you want to keep riding all the time. You need to take those breaks to refresh, because if you just stay on it continuously, you end up making more and more mistakes. He made a really good call this morning as well, because I did a run through my Mod 1. I did it twice without any mistakes. He said, right, stop there, because if we keep going until you make a mistake, you're going to get it into your head, and then when you go for the test, that's all you're going to be thinking about. And he also said, let's go down and get it done early. I was doing my test at 8, because he said, I've noticed over the last 3 days that you're much better in the morning than you are in the afternoons. So he said, let's get your Mod 1 done early. Got my Mod 1 done early, and he was absolutely right. I went over with a positive mindset, because I just completed it really easily a couple of times in a row, and went straight through that. And he said the same thing, right, let's go and take a short break, short ride, and then get straight into doing your riding test. He managed to bring my riding test forward, he said, because you're in the right frame of mind. It's not got too hot yet. The traffic's slower at that time of day as well, he said, and you'll perform better. And lo and behold, after my ride, the instructor turned around and said, I'm pleased to say you've passed. I mean, not even really many advisories either. So I can't tell you how happy I am about that. I'm really happy. But yeah, massive thanks to MTS, everyone at MTS, super friendly team, and massive thanks to the big man, the boss, Chris, because he absolutely nailed everything about it. He like read my personality, read the way I learnt, adjusted everything to that. And because of that, that is the direct result of me winning, and getting my license. So as much credit has to go to him as it does to me. We're so excited. We can get into bikes now, guys. Look forward to lots of content of me buying completely the wrong bikes. Anyway, if any of you are thinking of doing it, CBT or direct access or the one in between, or they do refresher courses, cannot recommend the place high enough. Again, not sponsored content. I paid my money. This is a genuine recommendation.